nervous system. Any system in our bodies. When we started in grade 10, we said all living organisms are made up of single cells, number one. A group of cells that perform the same function will make up tissues. A group of tissues that perform the same function will make up an organ, in this case the brain. And then a group of organs that perform the same function will form what we call a system. System now. Nervous system is something that looks almost like this. There's the brain, this is the spinal cord, and all the nerves that extend to the rest of the parts of your bodies. But now this is the system. This is what we are going to learn about. But you cannot learn about a system if you do not know the organs, if you do not know the tissues, and you also do not know the cells that make up that particular system. So this system is made up of special type of cells that are called neurons. Everyone, neurons?
Neurons.
A neuron is a nerve cell. A neuron is a cell that makes up the nervous system. So when I say to you that our brain is part of the nervous system, you already know that the cells that make up the brain are called neurons. When I say the spinal cord is part of the nervous system, what cells make up the spinal cord? Neurons. So we are going to talk about neurons throughout this topic because the whole nervous system is made up of cells that are called neurons. We have three types of neurons. Three. They are all neurons, they are different from each other. The first type of neuron is called a sensory neuron. Everyone, sensory neuron?
Sensory neuron.
Nice. A sensory neuron has not been given this name by mistake. It actually senses. You will see when we talk about it, it actually picks up the stimulus and converts that stimulus into an electrical impulse. Because it's directly connected to cells that are called receptors. But we are not there yet. We are just talking about cells that make up the nervous system, and those cells are called what, guys? Neurons. How many types of neurons do we have?
Three.
The first one is a sensory neuron. The second type of neuron is called an inter or connector neuron. Interneuron. And the last type of neuron is called a motor neuron. Beautiful. Nice. Nice. What are the rules with neurons before we start? What are the rules? One neuron, the function of this neuron is to connect all of our organs in our bodies to the brain. These guys are situated in all of our sense organs. In your eye, when light comes into your eye, that light must end up in a sensory neuron because sensory neurons are the only cells that bring information to the central nervous system. So when I touch you, the only way you're going to feel that I've touched you is that a sensory neuron must send information to our brain or with there's pressure on your skin. When you step on a thorn, the pain on your foot, that information must go to your brain via a what, guys? A sensory neuron. And the traffic in your body. The same way we are driving on the road, there's no traffic. There are neurons that are going to, and there are neurons that are coming back. Which neuron always goes to the brain and the spinal cord? It's a sensory neuron. Why? Because it's the one that senses things. It's the one that picks up things. It's the one that knows what just happened in your body. So it goes there rushing to the brain to tell the brain, hey, no one to something. Hey, no one to man. Hey, this person just saw someone. So this neuron takes information to the brain all the time. Are you with me?
Yes.
Number two. When this neuron gets to the brain and the spinal cord, inside of the brain and the spine, this neuron is going to find this one. Lo, is the connector neuron. Inter means you are intermediate, you are in the middle, you are in between. This neuron is situated inside of the brain. inside of the spine. So this one is outside because it can come from your hand and go to your brain. So this neuron can be found pretty much everywhere in your body. But it's going to the brain. Mayifika phakathi kwe-brain, it relays the information that it has and gives that information to an interneuron. How do neurons work with one another? You know athletics. In athletics, there's a relay. Relay athletics, one person is carrying a stick, and there's other people 10 meters, 100 meters away from where the person starts. I guess when they shoot the gun, say go, the first person runs with the stick. What does that person do when they get to the next person? They give them the stick. Do they touch each other? No. Do they chat? No. What happens to the next person when they hold the stick? Immediately they do our guys, they run. That's how neurons communicate with each other. A sensory neuron comes with the information, gets to the brain, gives the information to an interneuron. Because an interneuron is inside of the brain and the spine, we call this neuron a decider. So whatever reaction that you're going to give comes from an interneuron because your brain decides the type of response that you're going to give. Stupid example. I'm walking. I come across somebody who does this. This is a stimulus. Because being I was minding my own business. But this person is doing something that could change what I could do. So sensory neuron will send this wave to my brain. When the wave gets to the brain, it goes to an interneuron. Interneuron download ama-files laphaya. Ubando, hayi ukuku. Uyamazi, hayi angimazi. Ukubulisela, awuyahlala. So do you understand what I'm saying? Are you going to respond? No. Bomb. So manje, ukuzoshaya ibomb, who must bring back that information now? Motor neuron. Ibomb ishaya kanjani? You need to frown. Your muscle tone, you need to look away. All these things that you're going to do, that is the response. Not responding is a response to people. When somebody blue ticks you, they saw the message and they decided not to respond. But now, interneuron nangula in the brain, deciding on the type of response that you're going to give us. Agaphumi, it's the shortest neuron because it stays inside of the brain. After a decision has been made by the brain and the spine through interneurons, a response has to come back via a what now, guys? A motor neuron. So motor neurons always carry impulses away from the brain. They're always bringing an answer. Sensory neuron is always taking information to the brain. Interneuron processes the information. Motor neuron comes back with the what, guys? A response. A response. Yes, we are going to learn about so many other things, but I need you to understand that our basic brain functions like this. Our brain and the spinal cord are part of the nervous system. We are going to dissect the nervous system now and learn which part is it, what happens there. But in your head, always have this thing of when you touch me, sensory neuron must send an impulse to the brain. The brain must decide how I feel about that touch. A motor neuron will make me respond to the touch. Finish and clap. Says one.
Yes.
Yahamba. We're just talking about nervous system and nerve cells.